Hello, and welcome back to Framingham Now. I'm Jack Patrick Lewis, State Representative for the 7th Middlesex District. We're continuing our conversation with the candidates running for District 8 City Council. We just heard from Judy Grove. Now I welcome Steve Croci onto the show. Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it.
So excited that you accepted the invitation to come on.
I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Excited to hear a little bit more about your vision for Framingham. But first, tell us a little bit more about yourself and why you're running.
Sure. My name is Steve Croci. I'm running for District 8 City Council. The old precincts 15 and 18, people are still confused a little bit about that. I'm running basically because I want to bring a stronger voice to the South Side that we've never had before. We've had pretty limited representation in town meeting, and because of that, the South Side has had some issues, some serious issues. So that's primarily the reason I'm running. We'll get into the rest of this thing, but one of the things I want to just mention, I'm a lifelong resident of the town. Lived here 65 years, went to school, graduated from Framingham High School, still live here in the old family homestead up on Coburn Street. And you know, over the years things have changed, and relatives have said, you know, you really should move out, you know, why do you put up with this? And I can't, I don't, you know. And I guess one of the things is that, you know, I guess they call me a townie for being around all this time. But nonetheless, I'm running because I really want to try to make some change for the district. I have over 30 years in quality management field. I've worked as a quality in quality assurance, quality compliance. I've worked as a certified quality auditor for systems and so forth. We just recently retired from Genzyme, 15 years there. I've worked for Boston Scientific. I've worked for General Motors. I've worked in the architectural engineering consulting field. All these industries I've worked at and jumped about from one job to another without really any basic experience, sort of learned on the go, and succeeded in every one of the positions I've entered. I guess one of the reasons that I want to bring my quality background to city government is that quality has been infused in just about every industry, as you probably know, including municipal government now. And so many cities across the country are instituting quality assistance programs to make government more efficient, more productive, more responsive to people's needs, that type of thing. And I think I can bring some knowledge of that and maybe some help to that. Right now, our town is not that responsive, particularly the people on the South Side. That's some of the arguments that I hear, some of the statements that I've heard. Difficult to work with town departments, difficult to get information. They point you from one department to another. It's not my job, that type of thing. So, you know, one of the things I would suggest to the mayor that maybe we look at implementing a much better type of management structure that would, you know, address some of these problems. But nonetheless, you know, that's just my basic background. Okay. I mean, for what it's worth.
And when it comes to Framingham itself, when it comes to your experience, you mentioned you've worked for some corporations
Sure.
that are headquartered in town and around town. Other experiences in town as you enter this foray of running for city council?
I've never run for a political office. Never had a political office. Okay, I don't find that to be terribly hurtful. I'm just unencumbered with any type of history or decision making out of town government. I've never had to do that, and I'm independent of any type of policy or program or ideology that might be brought up. I think that's strong. I think that's an important part. Just because you have experience with the town doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to provide or you have provided services that represent the priorities of the district. So I don't think that's an issue. To be honest with you, I mean, I can give you a quick example. The Red Sox just hired a manager who has no managerial experience in the major leagues, and yet he's got the opportunity. Obviously, they think he had the abilities. Well, I sort of approach it from the same way, to be honest with you. My opponent has had, you know, she's been in town meeting and she's been on different committees, but she's really never represented and never advocated for specific needs of 15 and 18 of those precincts. And because of that, that's one of the reasons I've gotten into. I think we need better representation. She served on committees. I'm sure she has an agenda that's taken her outside of our district over the years. I want to bring that emphasis back to the district. We have a situation here in the South Side where we have a deteriorating situation. I'm fed up with the way that the South Side has been treated. I'm upset about the fact that it's deteriorated and the town government has sort of forgotten about us. And I want to see if we can make a change. We need to definitely make a change in this thing. So one of the things we want to do is look at deterioration. We have crime problems, we have drug problems. Most people in Framingham might not realize that, but Southside has significant problems that other parts don't. And we need to address those types of things, to be honest with you. Traffic is another problem. We have to revitalize our neighborhoods, particularly in 15 and 17. We have absentee landlords, we have blighted properties, we have tremendous parking problems where people have literally, and over my course of campaigning and talking to people, I've heard stories that I find hard to believe where one neighbor is threatening another neighbor because of parking on the street. It shouldn't come to that. And I blame the town for that because they've watered down the bylaws and they've watered down the inspection regulations over the years. And the reason I know that is because I've dealt with issues over the past 8 or 10 years that affected me, and I've gone down, and I've gotten copies of the bylaws, and I realize now that they've been watered down to make things easier for the town to enforce. Well, I think we have to swing the pendulum the other way, to be perfectly honest with you. And
I'm with you. I think one of the things that I'm so excited about with this new form of city government is that every part of town is going to have one person that's going to represent them. The city council is going to have 11 people that make it up. When we go to vote November 11th, we'll be able to pick the 2 at large. And then depending on where we live, you'll be able to vote for one person. 2 names will show up on the ballot. You'll have to pick between the 2. If folks live in District 8, the names are Judy Grove and Steve Croci. And that one person will represent that part of town. They'll think about Framingham's interests overall.
Sure, absolutely.
But there's something to be said about living on the same road, living in the same neighborhood with folks that are a part of the same district. And as you mentioned before, it's precincts 15 and 18. They both vote at St. Tarcisius Church. They're still going to keep voting there. They're now also a part of District 8. I just like to keep reminding people that unfortunately, now we have more numbers to remember. If you're in Precinct 15, you're still in Precinct 15. You're now also in District 8. And if you were in Precinct 18, you're still in Precinct 18, but you're also District 8. And depending on your precinct determines where you vote, but also who your state rep is.
Sure.
And so Chris Walsh represents half of your district, 15, and I represent Precinct 18, the other half. And I know both of us are looking forward to partnering with either you or Judy, whoever wins this election, to make sure that that all the parts of town, but especially South Framingham, has the representation it needs. We only have about 4 minutes left, so I want to make sure we cover more topics.
Sure.
Can you tell me about your priorities for Framingham overall? You jumped right into the district level, and I'm really excited about that. But
quality of life, number one, and we discussed some of these things with neighborhoods and crime and deterioration and so forth, and our infrastructure is pretty bad, sewer and water lines and so forth. Property taxes, as I go around, number one issue of people, to be honest with you. They're concerned. This is a blue-collar working neighborhood, working district. People are struggling. Seniors are moving out because they can't afford it. People are struggling because they're working from paycheck to paycheck. Property taxes are high. They're just sort of fed up with the situation, to be honest with you. They don't think they've been represented very well. The issues that I'm concerned about, in addition to quality of life, which is my main focus, is helping the small business in our community. Small businesses on the south side have been hamstrung by the municipal regulations, zoning, permitting, those types of things, which makes it very difficult for them to do their work and to succeed and provide their services. So that's one of the things that we have to overcome. We have to get better communication between the city departments and the small businesses to flourish. One of the things I would like to see, and one of the things they tell me, is that, hey, we got to get a level playing field with the larger developments, larger companies that come in. They get TIFs, they get tax incentives. He says, why can't we get that type of thing? So I think that's one of the things I'd like to propose, some sort of a tax incentive for small business or a tax credit that would allow them to expand their business, hire new people, that and provide more services for our District 8. The other thing is downtown Framingham. How do we revitalize that? Well, we've had a lot of issues, and there's just been a recent article in the paper about with the downtown businesses. They've listed traffic, parking, homelessness, security, taxes, rent as issues. we're not going to revitalize downtown until we address some of those issues, and those are important to the downtown folks, as well as the regular small businesses throughout our district. The other thing that we're looking at here is what I would propose would be an economic development zone downtown, where the town would sponsor small businesses to come in, low rents, startup companies, technology companies that would come in and do research and development of new products, new development, that type of thing. One of the things that biotech would also come in, but biotech needs lab space. So I would obviously advocate to have some sort of minimal lab space where people can come in, start to develop a product, and work from there. Between Boston and Worcester, there is no such type of development zone. So this would be an ideal opportunity. Bring people downtown. It would bring revenue to the town. It would bring a little bit of life to the town, and it would overall help to develop some of the aspects of downtown. So those are the types of things that I'd like to see done. Personally, I don't think adding more apartments and condos downtown or any place else in the town right now is the right way to go. I think that just adds more problems to not only downtown, but it flows out into our district. We border the downtown, so we get the overflow. Homelessness, to me, is a big problem. It may not seem around the rest of the town, but whatever affects downtown finds its way into my district, into my precinct, okay? So we have those types of problems. We have an area called Cedar Swamp that Judy wants to make into a boardwalk, into a walking thing. 42 of the 43 abutters of this property, borders by four streets around Waverly Street, Mellon Street, Cypress Street, and Cedar, they don't want this. They've gone to 2 conservation committees and express their opinion. They have a petition that is signed by every one of the abutters not to do anything because they've had problems with this property over the years. It's been a trash dump. They've thrown construction materials into it. Homelessness, have pitched tents and lived there. Drugs, anything you can imagine, it's been in this thing. And these people wander in these neighbors' backyards. So they've addressed this with the town and tried to do things to improve the quality of life in their neighborhoods. And they have. They've done some good things. They don't want to bring this back. And so that's why I'm saying experience or not having an ear to the community, to what their priorities, what their needs are, is why I'm running. I don't think Judy has that, to be honest with you. And one other thing I just want to mention, she's promoted some sort of a cartoon recently. I don't know much about it, but it had to do regarding Miss Spicer, who was running for mayor. I haven't seen it. People have told me it's been on the blogs in Framingham. It's been a little bit disrespectful, and in some terms, people have said it's got some sort of overtones to it. I think at the very least she needs to apologize to Ms. Spicer for this. She removed it from her website, from her Facebook, but she needs to apologize for that. But she also needs to explain to our district what went on, an explanation, and also an apology. There's no room for this, in my opinion. That should be outside of anything in terms of the election. It's just bad ethics, in my opinion. But yet, those are the types of things that she's been concerned with. She has her agenda, and I want to bring a different agenda. That's the difference between us. So what I'm saying to the people today is, hey, if your priorities are mine, then you should vote for me. And I would suggest to them that they choose wisely on November 7th, because this may be the opportunity, the last opportunity they have for a while to try to, make some changes. This is a great opportunity, town to city transition. This is the time to do it.
And I think that's a great place to close out our conversation.
Okay.
The time goes by so quickly. I was trying to see an opening there to pivot to another question, but no, you did a fine job introducing yourself to this handful of folks out there that maybe you haven't met yet. For folks that live in precincts 15 and 18, the newly formed District 8, your candidates for City Council are Judy Grove and Steve Croci. Thank you so much, Steve, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jack.
November 7th, you will have an opportunity to not only vote for our mayor, our 2 at-large city councilors, who's going to be your representative on school committee, but you will also have the opportunity to vote for somebody to represent you and your district on the city council level. And if you live in District 8, these are the candidates that you will have an opportunity to choose from. I hope you will reach out to them in your free time, check out their websites, Facebook pages, and they're out there knocking on doors. So look out your front window, they might be there now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time.